We Happy Few does many things right, and there's so much good things in the game. However, We Happy Few is not perfect, and there are some things that We Happy Few does not do well. Even with how much I love this game, there's some things that I do not like how it was handled. So with that said, here is my top 5 things that We Happy Few did not do well. Let's get started. Number 5 is the loading times. Every game has to load in a certain way, but when a game loads slowly, it is really annoying, and that is something that We Happy Few does really badly. The game sometimes loads quickly, but most of the time the game takes forever to load, and you end up sitting there and waiting for the game to load. I know Compulsion Games had limited resources, but since the game came out this generation with Xbox One and PS4, it's kind of weird having a game that takes forever to load sometimes. Now at number 4 is the amount of loading zones. We Happy Few is not a AAA game, it's a AA game. I know that, I think everyone knows that. But there's a lot of loading zones in this game, to the point that it feels like you would move 5 feet and then another loading zone happens. And combine this with the long loading zones, and it gets really annoying, because there's loading zone after loading zone. You guys might have noticed that in previous We Happy Few videos, there are a lot of footage of the game just loading, and that was just by me walking through Wellington Wells. I couldn't do anything about that. And with how many times I've played this game, it gets more and more annoying with how much loading screens there is. Now at number 3 is the combat. Now I've gotten used to the combat in We Happy Few, but that does not mean it's still great. I might have gotten used to it, I might be okay at it, but that does not mean that it's still good. It can still be a little wonky, especially when you're in a group fighting people. Then it's really hard to even fight like people. Sometimes even one person is trouble, can cause you trouble to fight, and you get hit more often. Now I don't have much to say for the combat one, but it's still something that the game did not do well. Now number 2 is continuity errors. Something that is noticed in the 3 campaigns, Arthur, Sally, and Ollie, is the lack of continuity with them. Certain parts you have, like when Arthur and Sally are talking to each other when they meet up in the alley, and then later on when you meet up in either Sally's house or in the Garden District. The scene plays out completely different than it previously did, and they are even in different locations. Even with Ollie, the scenes are different, like when Arthur leaves the train station. Arthur, you leave the train station, nothing happens. Ollie, the train station right after Arthur leaves blows up, like bombs start going off, and that does not happen in Arthur. So you could say this is more of a nitpick, but it bugs me. And number 1 is the use of joy in the game. A big part of We Happy Few is joy. Now I have already made a video talking about the role of joy in the game, and it will be linked in the description, but the way joy is used in the game, I don't like. And it has nothing to do with the effect that joy has, but more the fact that you could play through the entire game without using joy. There are only a few times where you actually have to use joy, and that is with a joy detector or when you have to go to the village or parade. Other than that, you don't have to ever use joy, and with how important joy is with the lore, I wish it was better used in the game. Now, We Happy Few is not a perfect game, but even with its issues, I still really like this game, and this game is still one of my favorite games ever made.